Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Tuesday, February 7, 2017, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, over there in Asia, everything is down. Not a lot, but down. And over there in Europe, it's mixed. Here in the States, up a little bit, oil down, gold down a tad. So what's going on? The Dow Jones Industrials briefly rose more than 100 points, hitting new record highs before closing about 40 points higher. Quote, "We have a pretty good earnings season, so this is a reversal of what they've been saying. Calendar fourth quarter earnings have mostly surprised analysts, with more than 65% of the firms reporting better than expected earnings, according to data from Earnings Scout." So, we have positive earnings, and about another 50% of that market is about what Trump is going to do with deregulation and cutting taxes. So we still have that positive energy flowing, but you know, if he plays that Trump card, that wild card, it could bring him down, and the markets are set up, as many people are saying, for a correction. In economic news, U.S. trade deficit last year reached its highest level since 2012. Now let's go back and tie it together with bringing jobs back to America and bringing down our trade deficit. So again, that's positive support and why the markets are staying pro-Trump. So let's move on to gold and show you the way things are shifting. This is today's headline from the Wall Street Journal, meaning it's reporting on yesterday's news. Anxious investors seek refuge in gold. Big story. And that's what we've been saying from the very beginning since Trump got elected. Yes, gold prices have a downside risk, but they're going to stay, as we believe, a safe haven asset. So we're also seeing gold demand down, for example, particularly in India and China, according to a recent report. Chinese net gold imports in December were down 60% from 2015. Meanwhile, gold demand in India fell 21.2% in 2016 from a previous year, as new rules such as those forcing customers to disclose their tax codes for purchases above $2,967 or 200,000 rupees dampened demand. So that's what you have going on. Now keep putting it together, keep putting the pieces together. And what do you have? Now a little bit more news here out of China. Bitcoin hits 1-month high after drop in China's Forex reserves. Bitcoin jumped more than 2% Tuesday, today, to the highest since January 4th, amid a surge in speculative activity in Chinese exchanges after a drop in China's foreign exchange reserves. The foreign exchange reserves have now gone under $3 trillion. They're around $2.9 trillion. They're expecting it to go down to about $2.7 trillion this year. It's a very important story because Trump keeps saying China is manipulating its currency. China's doing everything that they can to prop it up. So again, we're seeing gold slipping a little bit, but the biggest story is bigger than the United States because we're looking at these Chinese Forex numbers, and remember what happens when the dollar gets stronger. Not only does the yuan get weaker, all those emerging market currencies get weaker with it. So again, going back to gold, we still maintain it as the ultimate safe haven asset. And we're also hearing now from Fed presidents that watch out for March, there may be an interest rate hike. The other important element about an interest rate hike that's not being talked about on the larger scale, hey, when interest rates go up and you got to pay back that $20 trillion national debt, you're paying it back with higher interest rates. And not only for the government, but all those corporations that borrowed that cheap money and have deals when those interest rates go up, they pay more. So we still see gold for what it is, and we don't see it going much lower. Again, our forecast is 1150s near the bottom. So oil prices slid after API reports 14.2 million barrel U.S. crude stockpile increase. Gasoline stocks also rose. Gasoline stockpiles rose by almost 21 million barrels in the first 27 days of 2017, compared with average increases of less than 12 million barrels same time last year. And same time last year during the previous decade. So, we're seeing what's going on. The higher prices go, we've been talking about this now forever, more is going to be produced, and it's going to offset the declines in output coming from OPEC member countries. So, moving on to some other news. Hey, how about one of your top 10 trends for 2017? Silicon Valley, Rust Belt 2.0. That's right. A little story here in the Financial Times today. Europe's chance to dominate deep tech. Yep. Just going on and on and on. And there was a study done by this company called Atomico, reports highlights Europe boasts 5 of the world's top 10 computer science institutions. There are some 4.7 million professional developers in Europe compared to 4.1 million in the U.S. That's only in Europe. Then there's the rest of the world, a place called Asia, with countries like China and South Korea and Japan. Again, the mind has no boundaries, but the mind in the Silicon Valley, as we've reported, is caught in a bind. Very small thinking. We saw it how they lost the election to Donald Trump. The greatest minds, the greatest algorithms, the greatest of the best of the Silicon Valley were pro-Clinton, and they all lost. So again, here we are. Atomico argued that Europe had acquired real traction in what it termed deep tech, artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality, and the Internet of Things. So again, that's why you subscribe to the TrendsJournal, history before it happens. And moving on, insurers eye untapped India customer base. Very important story, again coming out of the Financial Times. Remember what they did when they called in 86% of the rupees, and they're trying to turn it into a cashless society. Now people have bank accounts. Now they're using that bank accounting information to know who the people are and to see what they can sell them. It goes back to our working with Agora Financial. We talk about blockchain. We talk about cashless societies. And what we do is we forecast the trends, and they tell you what companies to invest in and why. And here's an example of the why. India's radical experiment in demonetizing is providing an opportunity for insurance companies to reach a customer base that has long proved elusive. AXA has used the push to get more Indians using banks to sign up more than 1 million new customers to its accident insurance over the past 3 months, according to the French insurer. The plans come as Prime Minister Modi announced late last year that he would scrap 86% of India's cash supply as part of a plan to nudge people towards banks. AXA hopes this will allow it to get previously unbanked Indians used to the concept of insurance, allowing the group eventually to sell a large range of products such as life, motorbike, and health insurance. Again, there's more to it than just the outward trend. There are the implications. So moving on to some global news, remember, going back to the dollar, going back to gold, going back to destabilization, going back to the Trump victory, it's that populist movement sweeping throughout France and the Netherlands and Germany and Italy and other countries. So now in France, as we know, that guy Fillon, the fraud, was caught putting his wife and his children on a payroll of almost $1 million they made for doing nothing. And that's not unique to him in France. They do it. You know, it's a rigged system like so many others. But here's what he had to say. What was unacceptable in the past no longer is, Mr. Fillon said during a press conference at his campaign headquarters yesterday. Quote, "It was a mistake. I deeply regret it and apologize to the French people." You know what that is.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
I'm sick and tired of these clowns that get caught and always say, "Oh, it was a mistake. I apologize." It's only a mistake and you apologize when you get caught, you little slime balls, and they all do it. Except, of course, the sociopaths that declare war, and it's never a mistake, like your Obama and your Bush and your Clintons. It's never a mistake. When you're a sociopath like Hillary Clinton, we came, we saw, he died, hee, as she says when they tell her how did she feel when she found out Muammar Gaddafi was murdered, brutalized, sodomized with knives. Yeah, so anyway, the clowns that want to keep running, they apologize for it. We have a big story developing here, and I want to put it into context. I'm going to read again what I've already done, but going back because tracking trends is an understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going, so we're only going to go back to Saturday. U.S. imposes sanctions on Iran, signaling new approach to, quote, bad behavior. That's what Michael Flynn, the president's new national security advisor, called it. And he said, "We will no longer tolerate Iran's provocations that threaten our interests." Hey, Katsoni, what are our interests that Iran is threatening? Oh, to kill Assad? Maybe that one, huh? No, I know. They're supporting those people over there in Lebanon that fight against the invasion of Israel. Oh, that one, huh? Oh, no, I know. The one in Yemen, a United States interest. We all have it. The folks in Joplin, Missouri, they care about Yemen more than anything. And in Flint, Michigan, more than their water. So anyway, I'm building this to show you what's going on. Remember Iran. Yesterday I read Defense Secretary John Mad Dog Mattis said Iran was the single biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and you heard all the other little flunkies repeat that cheap talking point that the Trump administration is throwing out, whether it's little Paulie Ryan or all the rest of them, or Eddie Munster, whoever you want to call him, another little piece of crap. The talking point, Iran. Now, tied together. Israel Knesset agrees to seize Palestinian land. They voted on a bill that allows the Israeli government to unilaterally seize land privately owned by Palestinians, making it state property, and then transferring it to settlers. They're not settlers. Let's stop this settler crap for the little boys and girls. They're real estate developers. How about that? Maybe condominium developers. It's real estate, man. I know. God was a real estate agent and the Bible was a land deed. Let me go on. For construction of settlements in the occupied territory, the immediate impact of the law is to retroactively legalize some 4,000 Israeli settler units illegally built on privately owned Palestinian land. And it doesn't apply to just these 4,000 units, but to all land owned by Palestinians anywhere in Palestine. Oh, there is no Palestine. I forgot. Golda Meir. Yeah, the Ashkenazi over there that came down to Israel. Yeah, she said there's no such thing as Palestine anyway. Setting the stage for a wholesale dispossession of what land is legally owned by the Palestinians. And of course, these, quote, settlements are illegal. Illegal under international law. It's a land grab and a land steal. So how does Netanyahu comment about this? He's over there in the UK. Quote, Iran seeks to annihilate Israel. It says so openly. It seeks to conquer the Middle East. Oh, yeah, they invaded Libya. No, they invaded Iraq. No, I think it was Afghanistan. And no, all the reports are in Yemen, they're not supporting the Houthis. They're a different sect, a different tribe, no evidence at all. It threatens the West. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, California is really under threat over there. It threatens the world. Oh, the whole world. Look at the propaganda shooting out of this guy's mouth. And he gets away with it. And it offers provocation after provocation, Mr. Netanyahu said. Okay? Let's tie the anti-Iranian deal together. Trump, Israel, settlers, get your mind off the other issues as we steal land and blame it on the Iranians. Remember, we're moving toward war if they continue in this direction. But it's your choice. You either could occupy peace or go to war. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.